إن الحمد لله نحمده ونستعينه ونستغفره ونؤمن به ونتوكل عليه ونعوذ بالله من شرور أنفسنا ومن سيئات أعمالنا من يهده الله فلا مضل له ومن يضلل فلا هادي له وأشهد أن لا إله إلا الله وحده لا شريك له وأشهد أن محمدا عبده ورسوله اللهم صل وسلم وزد وعنهم وبارك على سيدنا ونبينا محمد وعلى آله وصحبه أجمعين وبارك وسلم تسليما كثيرا مزيدا دائما إلى يوم يبعثون وبعد. Respected viewers and listeners at home, brothers, sisters, elders, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Inshallah, bi'idhnillah, we continue with our series Beautifying with Beautiful Deeds. And we started Salah yesterday, how to beautify ourselves through praying Salah, and we discussed how Salah beautifies our character. And so we mentioned some points within Salah, for example, how Salah teaches us to stand with respect, how Salah teaches us to sit with respect, how Salah teaches us to remain silent and to listen to the Imam and then to speak when the Imam has finished his recitation, and to give salam, and there were many other points that we made. Today we're going to focus on how to beautify our Salah. As Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has mentioned in the Quran, إِنَّ الصَّلَاةَ تَنْهَى عَنِ الْفَحْشَاءِ وَالْمُنْكَرِ, that indeed Salah is something which stops a person from committing evil and immorality. So in order for that to happen, our Salah needs to be perfect. If our Salah is not perfect and it's not being accepted, then of course, our Salah will then not prevent us from committing sin. Before we pray Salah, there are certain preconditions that we need to bear in mind. This is before entering the Salah, in order for the Salah to be accepted. And that is, firstly, that your body should be pure, meaning you are not in a state of impurity. The clothes you're wearing, they should be clean and respectful. And the place that you are playing in, that should also be clean as well. Okay, and there shouldn't be any pictures around you, or especially in front of you. So those are the three things. Body should be clean, then the clothes should be clean, and then the place that you are praying, that should be clean. And not only clean, it should be in a suitable place. So if you're praying at home, you will pray in a room where you are least likely to be disturbed, and you don't block any passages. And even in the masjid as well, if you pray your Salah, you pray in such a place where you are not obstructing others from either coming in or going out. So it's very important that we be considerate like that. That's the first thing. Then we should be facing the Qibla. This is very important. We can't just pick and choose, okay, how we want to pray and in what position we want to pray, facing, whatever. No, you need to be assured that you are facing the Qibla and that your intention is correct for the Salah, and that you are also praying Salah in the correct time. So these things are very important that we should do. Pray with the correct intention, facing the Qibla, and praying in the correct time. These are some of the preconditions of Salah that we should know. The other conditions, the 6 faraid and the sunnah, that is more of a fiqhi discussion, and that can be done at another time. This is not a fiqhi lecture. We're here more or less to talk about how to beautify our salah. So the first thing then, how to beautify our salah, we need to know one thing, is that the main reason we are distracted from our salah, because if the brain and the heart is not connected to Allah in the salah, what's the quality of that salah, I ask? What is going to be the quality of that salah? And the main reason why we are distracted in our salah is because we don't know the meaning of the salah. And therefore we have nothing to ponder over in our salah. And the Prophet ﷺ said, woe to that person, waylun liman qara'aha wa lam yatafakkara fiha. Woe to that person who reads the Quran, okay, and does not ponder over its meanings, or does not even attempt to learn the meanings. And this is why we are lost in our salah. So when our mind is not preoccupied with Allah or the wordings of the salah, then what happens is shaitan comes and he occupies our mind. So suddenly the jobs that needed doing, they suddenly become very important, that you have to think about them in salah. Suddenly your finances become very important, that you need to work out your finances in salah. Suddenly the evening meal and what is going to be cooked by the missus becomes important, and you need to think about that in salah. So all these thoughts shaitan brings into your mind, and now suddenly you don't know what you're doing in your salah. You're just going up and down. You know, there are certain verses in the Quran which, like, they end in, they're very similar to وَلَضَّالِينَ. وَإِذَا رَأَوْهُمْ قَالُوا إِنَّ هَؤُلَاءِ لَضَالُّونَ. And there's some people who are lost in their salah, who are not concentrating, and they will think that the Imam has just said وَلَضَّالِينَ, and to that verse they'll say Ameen. And that is not the place to say Ameen. Why? Again, they don't know what to ponder over in their salah. They don't know how to connect with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So this is why it's very important that we should make every attempt to learn the meanings and the translation in order to improve our salah, and in order to beautify our salah. Simply standing up, going up and down in your salah, not knowing what you're saying, why you're saying it, how you're saying it, whether it's right or wrong, whether you're praying it in the right place or wrong place, that salah is unlikely going to be accepted. And that, of course, as I've mentioned, is the main distraction. So this is why many of us, we've also become very bored in our salah, especially when the imam is, when you're praying in a congregation and the imam is praying Fajr salah, and Fajr is the longest salah, and he's, let's say he starts to read Surah Jinn or Surah Sajda. I'm just randomly picking some long surahs up that he's going to read. You are literally, if you don't know the meaning, right, and you don't make any attempt, or you don't ponder over the wordings of the Imam, okay, you don't understand the translation, that's fine, that's understandable, but at least try to listen to the Quran the Imam is reading. Many of us, we don't even do that. We're just standing there. We're standing there, but the heart and the mind is not connected to anything. We're just standing. Yeah, we know the Imam's reading or something. What is he reading? We don't know. And we're just going up and down. And suddenly the longer salahs become boring. We're bored. And even in salah, we're looking at the clock like, ooh, the imam's praying long today. Yeah. This is why the clocks in front of the masjid should be removed. And Bechara, the imam goes 45 seconds over time. And, that brother will give him that eye, like, 45 seconds, I'll get you back for that. Yeah. So, you are connected to Allah. You want to, there are stories in the Quran when Musa alayhi salatu wasalam speaks to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, وَمَا تِلْكَ بِيَمِينِكَ يَا مُوسَى قَالَ هِيَ عَصَايَ أَتَوَكَّلُ عَلَيْهَا. Yeah, so it's that verse where Allah just asks him. I thought Allah didn't know, Allah just asks him. That, what do you have? And Musa alayhi salatu says, it's a stick. قَالَ هِيَ عَصَايَ أَتَوَكَّلُ عَلَيْهَا وَأُشْرِبُ. So what does Musa alayhi salatu do? He prolongs the conversation with Allah. So he starts describing the stick and what it does, as though Allah wasn't aware. He's prolonging his conversation with Allah. If we meet somebody famous, we will have nothing in common with them, but we will try to make a conversation. We'll try to prolong it. And even if you speak to that person for 2 minutes, you'll be like on your status, like, just spoken to Prince Charles. Yeah? You spoke with him for 2 minutes, but you're going to be like, just spoke with him for 2 hours. Yeah, spoke to Prince Charles for 2 hours. So you prolong, sorry, I've just picked on Prince Charles, right? But you prolong the conversation. And in Salah, you're talking to Allah, the King of the Kings, Maliki Yawmiddin. And every few seconds you're looking at that clock. So this is why, if that is a mentality of our Salah, then I ask, how is that Salah going to be quite, accepted, where you just want to be out of the masjid quick time? So, when the Imam starts recitation and he reads the shorter surahs like, Inna a'tainaka al-kawthar, and you're like, Gee, wah, wah, takbir, subhanallah, yeah, Allahu Akbar. I like this Imam, he reads very short. The second rak'ah, Qul huwa Allahu ahad. And not only that, it's Salatul Isha as well. And he's your favorite Imam. So if this is, and then people use the hadith, where Prophet ﷺ said that consider those behind you, the elder, the weak, the women, the children, right? And people use this hadith, and many scholars, they also misinterpret this hadith as well, saying, every salah should be inna atayna kul wal wahad. No, that's wrong. This is not the meaning of the hadith. This is not what Prophet ﷺ meant. The Prophet ﷺ had a sunnah recitation. For example, in Maghrib he prayed very short. In Salatul Isha, he prayed, let's say, in between. Right, so from وَالسَّمَاءِ ذَاتِ الْبُرُوجِ up until I think it's لَمْ يَكُنِ الَّذِينَ كَفَرُوا. So he prayed those surahs. And then Fajr was the longest. I think it's from Surah Al-Hujurat. Right? Fajr was the longest. So, for example, if you are praying Surah Yusuf, the entire Surah Yusuf in Maghrib Salah, then you're gone against the hadith. But if you in Maghrib Salah, you are praying 6-7 verses on average, there's nothing wrong with that. And same with Isha. But people say, no, but there's old people behind us as well. If there are people who are old, then they should sit on a chair. But why should we shorten our salah and go against the sunnah? The sunnah comes first for us. And therefore we will follow and read the length that the Prophet ﷺ read. And there are occasions where, in fact, the Prophet ﷺ read Fajr very short as well. In fact, in both of the rak'ats, he prayed, إِذَا زُلْزِلَتِ الْأَرْضُ زِلْزَالَهَا. And there are different narrations to why. Some of the ulama said it was probably because he was a musafir. Some said probably Prophet ﷺ was not well on that day. But you have narrations like that. But generally, the Prophet ﷺ has set us sort of criteria that we should follow. Fajr is the longest, Maghrib is the shortest, Isha is in between, in the middle. But sadly, our priorities have changed, right? So we can't stand 10 minutes in Salah, yet we can watch dramas for 1.5 hours. We can watch a football match for 1.5 hours. We won't get tired. But when it comes to Maghrib Salah and the Imam has slowly stretched it, or Isha, then we have problems. So this, my brothers, is a problem, that our priorities are wrong. From the very offset, we want our Salah to be short. We want, and then not only that, there's no connection with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. It is mentioned that Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, towards his end days, right, towards his end days, Bilal came and he asked Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam to lead the Salah, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam was not well. This hadith is reported by Aisha radhiyallahu anha, and the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam said, he requested that Abu Bakr radhiyallahu anhu to recite and or lead the prayer. And Aisha radhiyallahu anha said, O Prophet of Allah, my father is not able to lead. He is too weak. He weeps too much in Salah, and the people will not be able to hear him. Therefore, request and tell or command Umar to lead the Salah radhiyallahu anhu. Imagine, so the reason I mention this is, imagine the Salah of Abu Bakr, that he is very soft-hearted. He is asif, very soft-hearted. He weeps too much in his Salah. If he is going to lead, if he is going to be the Imam, the people behind him will not be able to hear him. Abdullah ibn Zubayr once says that a missile came and hit him. And it hit him to the extent that it actually hit his thawb, right? And he did not move, or he did not react to that. Imagine the khushu'. Imam Bukhari was praying Salah, and he was bitten, I think, from a scorpion 17 times. He didn't move from his Salah. When he finished, he found that there were 17 different wounds on his body. He didn't move from his Salah. Look at the devotion, how devoted they were with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala in the Salah. They didn't know what was happening around them. We stand up for Salah, we become CIDs. Suddenly we know what's happening around us. They didn't know what was happening around them. We know what's happening in front of us. We know who's coming in. We're in the first row, yet we know who's in the second row and the third. We know who's coming in and out. And Imam says, Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. And we're like, Assalamu alaikum. We're like full 360 degrees looking back. Assalamu alaikum. Eh? This is our Salah. This is the state of our Salah. And we are talking about how to beautify our Salah. So we need to stop this. If we're going to beautify our Salah, we need to be connected with Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. I'm just going to mention some tips here how we can improve our Salah. The first one is make the best preparations for Salah. Right? And the Prophet ﷺ said, Man tawadda nahwa wudu'i hadha, whoever performs my wudu, thumma raka'a rak'atayn, and ثم قام ركع ركعتين, and then he stands up and he prays 2 rakats. لا يحدث فيه ما نفسه غفر له ما تقدم من ذنبه. And then a person prays 2 rakats, and in that salah he does not allow any distraction to overtake his thoughts. نفسه. His sins, his past sins will all be forgiven. Right? So we need to bear in mind, our wudu should be the best. We should use miswak. And then, before standing up, we should wear itar, perfume. Why? Because the smell will keep you awake. Right? And if you want to go beyond extremes, put some on your nose and your nostrils as well. Yeah? And that will keep you awake. So, prepare yourself through making the best wudu, the correct sunnah wudu of the Prophet ﷺ. And then pray tahiyyatul wudu, 2 rak'ats of the tahiyyatul wudu. Okay? And this is of course what earned Bilal radhiyallahu anhu Jannah, when the footsteps were heard of Bilal in Jannah. And the Prophet ﷺ asked, and Bilal said, I don't do anything different, except that every time when I do wudu, I pray 2 rakats as well. And the Prophet ﷺ said, this is what has earned you Jannah. And this is Bilal, the mu'adhin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam. So the first thing is, let's make the best preparation. Our clothing should be the best. Our wudu should be the best. Secondly, mentally prepare yourself, right? Feel good about praying Salah. Don't think that this is a burden, or just another box ticked off. Make preparations. Know what you are praying. Get yourself ready. You should feel nervous and scared, like I am going to stand before Allah. When we have a job interview, we feel so scared and nervous. When we have a driving test, right? And the examiner is waiting for us, we're scared to go in the car. Even scared to start the car, thinking that, we might even start the car wrong, or we might even stall then. Before we even move, the examiner will fail us. This is Allah Rabbul Alameen. Dhul Arsh al-Majid, fa'alul lima yurid. And would you stand without any khawf, without any fear? So mentally prepare yourself. That's the second thing. Number 3 is make sure that you are in the best place to pray your salah, and focus on each of your posture in salah. For the Prophet ﷺ said to his companions, do you know who the worst thief is? And they said, who? He's the one who steals from your salah. The one who steals from your salah. And the companion said, how does somebody steal from their salah? And the Prophet ﷺ said, لا يتم ركوعها ولا سجودها. He does not complete his ruku and sujood properly. He is the one who is stealing from his salah. And I've seen many people, they're going to sujood. Is that, the hen when it pecks or something, like, when the head's down up, and we're like, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. How many tasbih? I don't even think you've a person, and I've seen this, I'm not exaggerating. Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar, Allahu Akbar. If that is how quick your sajdas, I don't even think you're praying the scene of the Subhana Rabbi al-A'la wa bihamdi. Not even the scene. So don't rush your salah. Focus on every posture, every position of your salah. Remember, you're trying to keep shaitan out of your salah. So concentrate, are my hands in the correct place? Am I doing the ruku properly? Am I bending down enough in sujood? The Prophet ﷺ said, keep your elbows high. Do not go into sujood like a dog sits. When a dog sits like this, with his arms, elbows, and his arm, the full arm, including elbow, leaning on the ground. The Prophet ﷺ told us not to pray like that in sujood. When we are in sujood, our elbows should be lifted up. So focus on every position in your salah, and make sure you're in the best place. That's the next thing. Okay. After that, know the meaning of your salah. Learn the translation. And as I mentioned, if you don't occupy yourself, then what's going to happen? What's going to happen is that shaitan will come and he will occupy your mind. There's a hadith in Hadith Ibn Hibban, where the Prophet was Bilal, and Bilal asked him that, لِمَا تَبْكِي وَقَدْ غَفَرَ اللَّهُ لَكَ مَا تَقَدَّمَ مِنْ ذَنْبِكَ وَمَا تَأَخَّرَ. That, O Prophet of Allah, why do you cry for in salah? And you are the one whose sins have been forgiven. The past sins, not the Prophet has any sins, but your past sins have been forgiven. Even the future ones have been forgiven as well. And the Prophet said, أَفَلَا أَكُونَ عَبْدًا شَكُورًا. Should I not be from the grateful people? And this is a part of the hadith I said. The Prophet said, وَيْلٌ لِمَنْ قَرَأَهَا وَلَمْ يَتَفَكَّرَ فِيهَا. Woe to that person who, when he reads the Quran, he does not contemplate on the meanings. He does not ponder over the meanings. From this hadith we learn the Prophet himself used to weep and cry in salah as well. So learn the meanings, right? And ponder over the meanings. And if that's too much because you don't know Arabic, that's fine. At least, pay attention to the Imam, what he's praying. Number 5 is linked to number 4, and that is to ponder over the wordings of the Imam or when you're praying alone. So for example, when you're praying verses, إِنَّ الَّذِينَ آمَنُوا وَعَمِلُوا الصَّالِحَاتِ كَانَتْ لَهُمْ جَنَّاتُ الْفِرْدَوْسِ نُزُولًا. So the Jannat you hear, or you hear the Rahmah in the Quran, and you know it's referring to Allah's Rahmah. Okay? Then these verses should give you contentment of the heart, and they should make you feel happy in your salah. And then when you hear words like Adhab and Jahannam, then those words should bring fear into your hearts. And if possible, you should weep and cry. This is the sunnah of the Prophet ﷺ, and the pious predecessors that we just learned. They used to cry in their salah. I ask, when was the last time you cried? When was the last time we heard an Imam crying and his recitation or his crying had an impact on our heart? Very unlikely. Very unlikely. Why? Because the heart is not in the salah. خَتَمَ اللَّهُ عَلَىٰ قُلُوبِهِمْ. The heart is sealed. And the Quran is something that should have a deep impact on your heart. Number 6 is to know throughout salah the shaitan is going to come and he is going to distract you. You need to know that from beforehand. So if you know that from beforehand, before you've even done Allahu Akbar, but you know shaitan's going to come, you're going to automatically combat the shaitan. How are you going to combat the shaitan? By doing what I've just told you, what I've just mentioned. Focus on each position of the salah. Keep your mind occupied with the recitation. Ponder over the meanings, the words of the Quran. Number 7 is, where possible, try to increase your salah. And I think I spoke about this yesterday. Increase your salah meaning, especially when you're praying alone, increase the tasbih of your salah. So Subhana Rabbil Azim wa bihamdi, prayed 5 times. Rabbi ighfirli, Rabbi ighfirli, Rabbi ighfirli, before you go into the second sajda. O Allah maghfirli warhamni, wahdini warzuqni wa'afni wajburni. Okay? And you can do that as well. And there are other sunnah du'as you can pray. You can pray Subhanakallahumma, and there are other many sunnah du'as that you can pray in that position as well. Inni wajjahtu wajhi lilladhi, which is a Quranic verse, you can pray that as well. Okay, so try to increase your praise of Allah in your salah. And this is all tasbih's praise. Remember, as I've mentioned, why are you standing before? You're standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Standing before Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. And the last but not least, and to the nearest, these words, these are the words of Rasulullah sallallahu alayhi wa sallam. Pray your salah as though this will be your final one. There is no guarantee. There is no guarantee that you will get Isha. We're going to pray Maghrib now. I have no guarantee. My uncle Haji Rafiq is here. He has no guarantee. In fact, we don't even have a guarantee whether we're going to pray Maghrib or not. And this is a true reality. People who are reading Quran, like myself, doing lectures, and they die during the lecture as well. There was one video which went viral a few months back, and it was the Imam was doing the nikah, khutbah nikah, and his bayan was on La ilaha illallah. And as he said La ilaha illallah, he held his heart, he fell and he passed away. On the spot. Many qaris who are on the mimbar of the Rasul Sallam and they're doing recitation, yeah, and they die reading the Quran. There's no guarantee. So if we bear that in mind, that this salah I'm going to pray, this will be my last, that will automatically help you to beautify your salah. And if we can beautify our salah, and our salah is accepted, why not? Definitely, inshallah, that salah will then have an impact on us. As Allah said, Inna salata tana anil fahshai wal munkar. Then, inshallah, the salah will have such an impact where we will say no to everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes. And when you say no to everything that Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala dislikes, you are beautifying your character. And this is how salah beautifies me and you as a person, as a Muslim. Beautify your salah, salah will beautify you. If you don't beautify your salah, you neglect your salah, even when you're praying or you're neglecting it, then that salah will not even be accepted. فَوَيْلٌ لِلْمُصَلِّينَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ عَنْ صَلَاتِهِمْ سَاهُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ يُرَاءُونَ وَيَمْنَعُونَ الْمَاعُونَ. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all ease during these difficult times. May Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant us all understanding and give us the ability to pray our salah with khushu and khudu. There's one book I brought with me I would recommend to everyone who's watching or listening, and it's called 8 Steps for Developing Khushu in Salah. In short, khushu means being devoted in your salah, being connected to Allah. Literally what I've just spoken about, the tips I've given you and the other things I've mentioned, this is khushu, right? Connecting yourself with Allah in your salah. Word to word, you know who you're standing before, the wordings that you are praying, you're connected with them, you know the meanings. So this is a book, 8 Steps for Developing Khushu in Salah. Perhaps if you, I've had this for quite some time, so I don't know if it's still available. If you go into Amazon or if you go into Google search, and the book also comes with 2 CDs as well. 8 Steps for Developing Khushu in Salah, for those who want pleasure in their salah and happiness in their hearts. Okay, Shu'aib Sirajuddin is the author of this. Everything in the book is authentic. It comes with reference as well. So everything that is mentioned in Arabic, the hadith, is all reference as well. Quranic verses are referenced as well. A very good book. If we can buy this book, purchase this book, and read a couple of pages every day, and then try to implement that, I can assure you that it will definitely help. This is from my library. I have one book, one shelf, which is labeled essential reading. Okay, and what that means is every week, at least every week, those books I need to open once. Okay, so the other shelves, the books are referenced, I will look at them as and when required. But the essential shelf, in fact, I think there's 2 shelves now I have, essential readings. I need to at least pick the book up and read something from it, whether it's 2 minutes, 5 minutes, 10 minutes. And this is one of the books on that shelf. It's so important for myself to improve my own salah. Okay, and I think if we can have this book, inshallah, then it will definitely help us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions in the Quran, قَدْ أَفْلَحَ الْمُؤْمِنُونَ الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ. When Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala mentions that successful are those believers who, الَّذِينَ هُمْ فِي صَلَاتِهِمْ خَاشِعُونَ, who, and this is the word khushu, who stand in their salah with complete devotion to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. أقول قولي هذا وأستغفر الله لي ولكم ولسائر المسلمين فاستغفروا إنه هو الغفور الرحيم. It is يوم الجمعة. This is a time where our du'as are accepted. This is a special time before the adhan of Maghrib. We should all now leave what we are doing and sit down and raise our hands to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Firstly, asking Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala that we are halfway through the month to forgive us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us for our major sins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us for our minor sins. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we are weak, we are prone to mistake, we are prone to make mistakes, we are prone to error. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala forgive us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, without your forgiveness, Allah, we are useless. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there's no hope for us. And Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we have hope in your mercy, because you tell us in the Quran, لا تقنطوا من رحمة الله. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, we live for your mercy. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, have mercy upon us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you love to pardon. Allahumma innaka afuun tuhibbul afwa fa'fu anna. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, you love to pardon. You are the one who pardons. Allah pardon us as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, forgive us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, accept our fast. Accept all of the other ibadat that we have performed today along with our fast. Whether it's Quran, whether it's a sadaqah that we have given, whether it's a salah that we have prayed, whether it's the food that we have sent to others to open their fast with. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, accept this from us. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, perhaps we were lacking in sincerity. Allah forgive us for that shortcoming. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, give us the understanding, the capacity, the ability to have khushu', to have ikhlas in our worship. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, there are those who have raised their hands before you, who have problems in their household. Whichever kind of problem it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, whether it's a spouse, whether it's a children, whether it's a daughter-in-law, whether it's a son-in-law, whoever it is, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah listen to their du'as. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, change the state of their household. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who have children who are disobedient, Allah make them obedient. Allah, you are the one who can change the hearts. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala change their hearts as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, many of our youth are on the streets, they are doing the wrong stuff. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, many of our youth are in prisons as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala guide them and help them. And when they come out of our prisons, may Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them the beacon of our communities, the light and ambassadors of our youth. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, guide our youth onto the straight path. Allah, those who are sick, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, grant them a quick and swift recovery. Those who have been afflicted with the coronavirus, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, bless them with their recovery as well. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who have family members who have died because of the coronavirus, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, grant them sabr and jameel. And we know of people in our masjid who have died because of the coronavirus. There's a brother, Butt Sab, I don't know his full name, who used to pray Jumu'ah and Taraweeh here, who passed away because of the coronavirus. And of course, there's our Shaykh Muhammad Ilyas Mudahiri, who would spend Ramadan with us, who would come on behalf of his orphanage, of his charity. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala grant their families sabr and jameel and give them fil jannat al-firdaus al-ala. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the ability to earn halal rizq. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala gives the ability to earn halal rizq. Those who are in debt, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help them through their debt and help them to remove their debt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, those who are in haram debt, those who are in mortgages, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help them, support them to get rid of their mortgage and debt. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala help them to support them to get rid of this debt. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala make them a means, open doors for them where they're able to get rid of this mortgage or debt, whichever debt or mortgage it is. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, open our masajids again very soon so that our hearts are reconnected with the masajids. Oh Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, I ask you to forgive those who have not been attending the masjid, but perhaps our eyes have now opened, and perhaps when our masajids are open, we will return back to the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah reward the management of this masjid who have continued with the masjid remaining open in order for the adhan to be prayed, in order for the adhan to be prayed, and in order for the salah to be prayed, and in order for these lectures to go ahead, so that people who are listening at home or watching at home, they have the name of Allah being said in their house. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward our management for this, reward them for their efforts, reward them for their fikr they have for the masjid, the house of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah reward those who are also connected with the masjid, inside the masjid, those who clean the masjid, those who maintain the masjid, those who open the doors, our mu'adhdins, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them as well. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, they are the ones who in this danger, when they are being told to stay at home, they are risking their lives, they are coming out and carrying probably the disease back with them and putting their family at risk. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala reward them for this sacrifice and mujahada of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Allah, those who have been working with the food bank, those who have been making collections, those who have been working in the food bank, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala accept their efforts as well and reward them for their efforts as well. سبحانك اللهم وبحمدك لا نستغفرك ونتوب إليك سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون وسلام على المرسلين والحمد لله رب العالمين. الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله حي على الصلاة حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح حي على الفلاح. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. اللهم رب هذه الدعوة الصلاة القائمة. الله أكبر الله أكبر أشهد أن لا إله إلا الله أشهد أن محمدا رسول الله. حي على الصلاة حي على الفلاح قد قامت الصلاة قد قامت الصلاة. الله أكبر الله أكبر لا إله إلا الله. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم مالك يوم الدين إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين اهدنا الصراط المستقيم صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. لقد جاءكم رسول من أنفسكم عزيز عليه ما عنتم حريص عليكم بالمؤمنين رؤوف رحيم. فإن تولوا فقل حسبي الله لا إله إلا هو عليه توكلت وهو رب العرش العظيم. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الحمد لله رب العالمين الرحمن الرحيم
مالك يوم الدين. إياك نعبد وإياك نستعين. اهدنا الصراط المستقيم، صراط الذين أنعمت عليهم غير المغضوب عليهم ولا الضالين. لقد كان لكم في رسول الله أسوة حسنة لمن كان يرجو الله واليوم الآخر وذكر الله كثيرا. ولما رأى المؤمنون الأحزاب قالوا هذا ما وعدنا الله ورسوله وصدق الله ورسوله وما زادهم إلا إيمانا وتسليما. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله الله أكبر. الله الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله سمع الله لمن حمده. الله أكبر. الله أكبر. الله الله أكبر. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. السلام عليكم ورحمة الله. استغفر الله. اللهم انت السلام السلام تبارك يا الله. سبحان ربك رب العزة عما يصفون. العالمين.